to self-care. What's paranormal got to do with it? Although holistic and alternative healing methods are becoming more and more mainstream, what method is right for you? How do you find a practitioner once you've chosen to explore an alternative therapy? Each week, host Deidre Sanford will explore a different modality with practitioners who will explain their modality and the benefits they and their clients have received through their sessions. Deidre and her guests may also offer live readings during the show and answer any questions you may have. Now, your host of Self-Care, What's Paranormal Got to Do with It? Deidre Sanford.
Well, good morning and welcome to the first November show of Self-Care. What's Paranormal Got to Do with It? I'm your host, Deidre Sanford, and you are watching us on WLTK-DB. I don't know. It's the first week in November and it's supposed to be 70 degrees today. This weather roller coaster is kind of normal, I guess, for this time of year, but it's also a little bit reflective of some of the things we've all probably been coping with over the past couple of weeks. It's been quite the ride, let me tell you. Let me know if you're in on this ride, because it's always kind of comforting to know that we're all in this thing together, right? So we're doing something a little bit different with the show today. It's not completely outside the realm of the scope of the show, as we talked about in the first episode. Mostly we focused on different healing modalities presented to us by different practitioners and become familiar with the modality itself, how it works, and y'all have gotten an opportunity to get to know the practitioner who's here representing that modality. That's awesome. That's really what we're about. We're taking a different approach today, because we're not talking about a healing modality like an energy healing, emotion code, pranic healing, root cause therapy. We're talking about a product. And I've had an opportunity to chat with Noelle, our guest, and neither of us wants today's episodes to turn into an infomercial type situation. I've had experience with this particular item, and if I didn't have my own jumping off point and my own experience from which to speak, I wouldn't be sharing this product with you guys. It has been an amazing shift in a very positive direction for me. No chemicals, no drugs, no runs to the doctor. It's insane. Western medicine, as we've discussed before, is only beginning to catch up with some of the things that we already know as folks who are interested in things that aren't 100% founded in science or things that seem to be somewhat paranormal. But we're only getting to the tip of the iceberg of the neural functioning of our body, how our brain and our nerve systems work together. And while I love the progress that's been made, there are still some things that are not completely understood. And that's kind of what makes this product fall into the what's paranormal got to do with it part of the theme of the show. I will tell you a little bit about my story and how I've learned this product can help me. A couple of years ago, I suddenly had a day when I was very much aware that incoming information wasn't sticking in my head. And I couldn't process numbers. I couldn't do basic math all of a sudden. I had to use a calculator. I didn't feel as though I was understanding my own proximity to the things in my environment around me. And every time I stood up, I felt like I was just going to fall down. So I sat down. Neurology and the neurologists haven't been able to completely identify what is causing this, but we do know it's neurological. We do know that there have been some changes in my brain function, and I've been able to regain the majority, not all, but the majority of my functionality for periods of time through speech therapy, vision therapy, another modality that I'd love to bring on the show, I think next month or in January called Syntonics, was a lot of work. I lost 3 lines of vision in 90 days. So I had a huge change in my eye function. And I also have a hearing loss issue, but it's not the same in both ears. And it was that hearing loss that led us to do the MRI where we found changes in my brain. It was a terrifying time. I couldn't do simple tasks. And my brain requires more rest than it ever has before. So at this time, we don't hear with our eye or hear with our ears. No, we never heard with our eyes. We don't hear with our ears, and we don't really see with our eyes. They're instruments that send messages to our brain, and that's where most of the work takes place, in these functionalities that we probably mostly take for granted until there's an issue. So that's where the root of my problems came from. They said they think I have some form of CTE, which is the brain inflammation that football players have brought to the forefront for us. And science is still studying that. But the only way to prove that anyone has CTE is to do an autopsy. And so we all easily agreed to postpone the testing. So Lynn, who was on last week and has become quite the friend of the show, she is amazing, isn't she? Provided me with an opportunity to try this piece of neurotechnology. And within 10 minutes of using this technology, I felt my system rebalance. I was able to stay more focused. Outside noises didn't overwhelm my brain and cause me to take a break and lose my concentration, my focus, my ability to make change, and my ability to find words in my head. All it did was make things better, with no drugs, no chemicals, and no visits to doctors and no further testing. I already had the diagnostics taken care of. So even though neither Noelle or I are licensed medical practitioners, we are absolutely not here to diagnose or treat. We do strongly encourage you to visit your physician for any concerns that you're experiencing. But once you've got that diagnosis, once you have a handle on what you're dealing with, this might be a great opportunity for you to help find some relief and find some forward progress. Let's bring on the show Noelle LaLiberty, who is so amazing and full of information about all of this wonderful neurotech. I can't wait to hear her story and have her share her information with us.
Thank you, Deidre. Hi, good morning. It's so nice to be here. And, it's so interesting. You were talking about how you were having processing issues and articulation issues, but I'll tell you what you just expressed in the last 5 minutes, it hits the nail on the head in terms of what this wearable neurotechnology is. And I think you did a fabulous job of sharing about this drug-free wearable neurotechnology. So whatever you're doing is working. Do you have a patch on? Do you have a patch on today? I have to ask.
Actually, I have them at my fingertips.
Okay.
And because of some stuff that's going on with my fur baby this morning, I got thrown for a complete loop about 10 minutes prior to air, and everything went out the window. So my self-care is lacking a little bit this morning.
I hear you. Well, that is what life is like. I mean, that is really the only thing we can count on, is things constantly coming at us.
Right. Roller coasters.
Exactly. So I guess where I'd like to start is maybe just with my story and how I found Vox Life and the Super Patch Company.
We are all about sharing stories and personal experiences on our show.
I love it. So in November of 2018, I had been having severe back pain, like the type of back pain where I would get out of bed and have to kind of roll out of bed and let my feet hit the ground, and then have trouble standing up and have trouble getting up and down the stairs and in and out of the car. I was totally suffering, and I was dealing with it as best I could and taking some medicine and such. But the spasms got so bad one day that I just drove myself to the ER and was in tears with trying to deal with this back pain. Back pain can be so awful. So they gave me a bag of something. I don't even remember what it was. It calmed it down, and I headed home. I got in bed with, a heating pad and the other things that I knew of to try to help my back, and just tried to relax and tried to work my way through it. But I was on the phone that night with a dear girlfriend of mine, Melissa, and we talked for probably an hour. And at the end of the conversation, she said, "Oh my gosh, I keep meaning to tell you, I got these magic socks. This was
Yeah.
back before we even had patches. I got these magic socks from Canada, and I swear they are helping my back." And I was like, "What? Magic socks? I don't even, that doesn't make any sense. What are you talking about?" And she said, "Well, I had heard that there's this product, this Canadian product that helps people with balance. And her mom has mobility issues. And so she had gotten her mom a pair of these socks. And then Melissa has the same kind of back issues that I do. When sitting on a couch and leaning over a
Yeah.
table, it is painful to try to get up, that sort of thing. And so she said, I watched my mom, I watched how it helped her balance, and then was reading in this Facebook testimonials page about how it was helping people's back. And so I decided to try the socks. And I'll tell you what, they're working. And I said, well, that makes no sense to me at all, but I will try anything,
Right.
even magic socks. So send me 3 pairs and I'll get started with them. So I got the 3 pairs of socks. I wore them day in and day out. At the time I was living up in Naperville, Illinois, so it was chilly. So it was easy to even wear the socks at night.
Yeah.
But being in my late 40s at the time, I sometimes would get a little hot. And so I would have to take off a sock,
Yeah.
but I would still wear the one sock. Now, what is it about these socks that is so unique? Let me show you. I brought one.
Oh. And I'm
So-
sorry, I don't mean to be rude. I'm listening.
Yeah.
But since the cat's at the bed, I'm keeping an eye on my phone.
Oh, no worries. So these are the socks. Now, I mean, this is an incredibly comfortable sock. It has like all this nice kind of hugging property to it, and it's a great sock. But what it really has is this pattern right here in the ball of the foot. And this pattern, when it hits the ball of the foot, it sends a message up to the brain, and it puts the brain in a calm state so that your brain and your body can function better. So it wasn't really magic socks per se. It was that this pattern is woven in the sock.
Well,
So anyway, I wore this product for, I don't know, I guess probably about 23 weeks, let's say, and noticed I was able to get in and out of my bed easier. And I was able to go up and down stairs and get in and out of my car. And I thought, there's no way. Surely I'm imagining this. Surely it's not the socks or the pattern in the socks. And I had heard that there was they were doing brain mapping up in Canada. There was and also in Colorado, there was a great doctor that was doing brain mapping, showing the difference with and without the product and how your brain functioned. And I thought, I got to try this.
When you say brain mapping, I think we all have visions of like EEGs where they stick needles in your skull. And are you speaking of that sort of brain mapping, or are you talking about like a functional MRI type observation?
So this is a cap. They kind of squeeze some goo on your head, and they put a
Conducting
cap
gel, yeah.
on you. Yeah, they put a cap on you, and they have you sit there and do 3 1-minute. I think it was 3 1-minute increments where you basically do not move and you don't think of anything. You just try to sit there, and you do it with and without. I'm trying to think here. It's been so long since I did it. But anyway,
I don't mean to
they
put
take
you
you
on the
through a
spot.
series. Oh, no. They take you through a series of kind of focus on the cap of the water bottle. Don't focus on, like, close your eyes and open your eyes and focus on the cap. So anyway, I found out about this brain mapping, and I thought, you know what? I need to do this because I really can't stand behind a product and share it with other people if I'm imagining it or somehow just talking myself into doing it. I mean, my back felt great, so I was all about it, but I just couldn't endorse it if I didn't know it was true.
Right.
100% true. And I didn't have science to back it up. So I found a local doctor in Naperville who was willing to do 2 brain mappings. I called him and I said, I'd like to do 2 brain mappings back to back. And he said, well, you're not going to see any difference. And I said, well, I know, I just am going to change one thing and I want to see what happens. So
Right.
I went to his office, and he said, before we even sat down and put the cap on, he said, what's going on here? And I said, well, I got this sock. And I know this sounds crazy. And before I could even get the words out, he goes, oh my gosh, someone gave me a pair of those a year ago, and they've been sitting in the top of my drawer for a year. And I said, well, I don't know what's going to happen, but let's just see what happens. And, let's just go down the road and see where it takes us. So I sat in the chair, no sock on, no pattern on my body, sat in the chair and did the test. And then never got out of the chair, slipped the sock on my foot, did it again. And he said, all right, come back in a week and I'll analyze the results and we'll talk about it. So I came back a week later, and as I walked in, I looked down and I noticed he was wearing his socks. And I thought, oh, well, that's kind of interesting. That is encouraging, I guess, because he also has his socks on. And so then I sat down and I said, what did you notice? Was there any change? And he said, Noelle, I got to tell you, I am amazed to show you how in every way, alpha, beta, gamma, and I don't know, I'm not a doctor, in all the ways your brain improved. It got better.
It's amazing.
Just by putting on that sock. And that was able to, once I saw that, I realized I got to share this with people because Naperville, Illinois has everything, but it did not have Vox at the time.
Right.
And it was awfully exciting to be able to get confirmation that this was improving my brain. And it actually improved the way that my brain functioned by 28%.
Wow.
That's a huge improvement, which is why I was able to articulate my thoughts better and why I just felt better, and also why my back felt better. So anyway, that's my story. And since then, it has been an amazing ride. The company has grown and changed. The inventor is Jay Dollywall, and he is just a man with heart and brains. And I don't know, I'm a big fan of his as well, because he has really figured out something that he's broken a code, which I think is pretty remarkable. Yeah.
Well, and speaking of codes, I know we've mentioned, you've shown us the socks. You briefly mentioned or referred to the patches. And I think, I know our listeners on the podcast, or people who are just listening and not viewing the show, aren't able to actually see the sock. When you look at the sock, when you look at the patch, it's almost like a thumbprint, or as Jay puts it, a QR code.
Right.
So the functionality behind these wearables is really built into this so-called QR code. Can you tell us a little bit about, I think we call that haptic.
That's right. Haptic neurofeedback.
Can you tell us a little bit about what we do understand and know in layman's terms about how these haptic designs and patterns help reconnect?
Sure.
Why that MRI, why the brain mapping that you did actually showed increased brain activity by 28 in your
28%
case,
yes,
and 31%, as I've seen in some of the information on their website.
Yeah. So let me just kind of start. This was the very first kind of ideation and version of Vox Life. Jay realized
what you're holding up is an insert, like an insole for a shoe, right? Like the ones you would buy, say, at Walmart.
Yep. It's a shoe insert. And actually, they're not that much more expensive than a Dr. Scholl's insert. But what they do have is this amazing pattern that, to me is life-changing. But anyway, well, it does. And I'll tell you why. Because Jay actually, in his career previous to Vox Life, was an encoder. And so he actually encoded the pattern in what looks like his fingerprint. So you are exactly right. It does look like a fingerprint, and that's intentional.
No wonder he says it's like a QR code for your brain.
Yeah, I know. That was such a good idea. So it started with the inserts, and then Jay said, well, shoot, if I can put it in a plastic, molded plastic, maybe I could do it in a sock. And so he figured out how to actually weave this pattern into a sock. And we have a million different socks, but I'll tell you what, I do not sell socks. I sell, and I represent a company that is wearable NeuroTechnology. It's all about this pattern. So once he figured out that he could do this with socks, he then said, wait a minute, how do I make this even easier? And
Yeah.
so that is when he decided and realized that he could make this little patch. Let's see if I can
Yeah.
get it in there so you can see it. So now the pattern is just slightly raised, ever so slightly. Look how thin this is. I mean, you really
It's super thin.
don't even feel it.
Yeah.
But what's amazing is your brain knows, and our brains understand patterns. So if I were to draw a 3 on your back, you'd instantly be able to say 3. You'd
Mhm.
probably think 3, and you would process what that pattern is instantly. And that's because you know that pattern. Well, it's the same way with our brain. When this pattern hits your skin, your brain goes, "Oh, that's the one." That optimizes my brain and puts it in sort of like a homeostasis, or like a
Mhm.
calm mode. Oftentimes people explain with and without this pattern on your body, like you're driving on an expressway at 5 p.m., there's traffic everywhere, it's crazy. As soon as you put this on, within 7 seconds, you're at the beach.
Yeah.
And I find oftentimes when I put on my patch, I just kind of exhale. It's the wildest thing.
And I share that experience. My muggle job, as I call it, is cashier at a local
Mhm.
big box retailer. And man, on our busy days, we have 2 hour shift, 2 hour, we have breaks built into our shifts every 2 hours.
Mhm.
And that's actually what my neuro team prescribed for me when they released me from treatment. So 2 hours, minimum 15-minute break, brain rest, avoid the overwhelm, because my brain
Interesting.
highways just can't handle constant traffic as is built into our society today. So what I
Mhm.
realized that first time I wore a patch, I wasn't struggling after an hour and a half of consistent people through my lane, talking, moving
Wow.
physically, sorting sounds with my brain. I mean, in daily life, our brains really are constantly assaulted by visual and auditory stimulation. Let
Mhm.
alone, I mean, add to that our own thought processes and our own trying to function. I'm trying to make change and I can't. But at a certain point in the day, I admit I have to rely on the cash register to tell me how much change I owe someone who's actually paid cash. But
Mhm.
that day that I wore that patch the first time, I realized that after an hour and a half of steady flow, of steady noise, of steady conversation, constant bombardment, I wasn't watching the clock to see, oh my God, is it 4 o'clock yet? Is it time for my break? Is it time for my break? Can I get away? Can I go to my car where it's quiet and sit? It was so much easier to just make it through. And that
Mhm.
continued for the entire time I was wearing the patch as far as my functionality. Now, most of the time, I seem to be pretty normal and I don't seem to have any processing delays. Or recall delays. Yeah, I twist my words, but I don't say things anymore like, "Oh, would you like a milk with your bag?" What?
Right.
I hear some things come out of my mouth like at one point prior to speech therapy and everything in this recovery process, I was in June offering clients umbrellas in case it snowed. And I would
Mm.
hear pointing at the refrigerator and saying coffee maker. Just
Wow.
completely.
Just all kind of
Yeah, my
scrambled.
Rolodex and my
Yeah.
files in my brain were scrambled. So even though I gained a lot of improvement. Hey, Mia, thanks for popping in to say hello this morning. It's great to see you here. Even though I had made tremendous strides in my recovery and my functionality through physical therapy, speech therapy, as I mentioned, through our standard Western approach to solving things, I
Mhm.
still had glitches. Yeah,
Mhm.
then that all was pretty much mostly finished, say February, sorry, of 2021. Um, it was a long journey, like 5 months of recovery,
Yeah.
but I still have glitches, but I have
Mhm.
fewer of them when I wear my patch.
Hmm. I
It
love it.
mystifies me, and that's one of the reasons I'm so excited. I know you're talking about about back pain and body movement freeing up and some brain improvement, processing improvement as well. I'm speaking specifically to processing,
Mhm.
functionality, memory, focus. I was bowled over when I heard about
Yeah.
this. And if I didn't have such trust and faith in Lynn, I would have been a whole lot more hesitant to allow her to put this patch on my body.
Sure.
and say, oh, this is good. Just try this. See if it helps you. And I know she has her own great story to share as well.
She does. She's had a great experience with it, and so
Yeah.
have her parents, and yeah, it has been so rewarding to be able to have a solution, a drug-free, wearable
That's
solution that I can offer to people that are hurting. And now with the Super Patch Company, Jay has come out with 8 different patches that help in 8 different ways. Well, way more than 8, but in 8
yeah.
targeted ways. And so each pattern is slightly different because it elicits a different response from the brain. And it's remarkable to know that if I'm stressed out or I'm having that fight or flight. I live down in Florida, and so we just went through that
Oh,
hurricane. And going through a hurricane, while there were beautiful gifts from it within the community, and I learned that my house is solid,
yes.
and yep, and there were definitely gifts, but it was very stressful. And it was interesting to me how I just had this fight or flight kind of thing happening immediately, like
Sure.
during and after. And so I thought, I gotta stop because I'm just being so reactive. I get a text and it's like, wait, what? Huh? And so
How I was this morning.
I pulled out my peace patch, and I thought, I don't know. I don't have, these are brand new. These just came out in the last couple months. I didn't have experience needing something like this. And so I said, you know what? I'll just try it. I'll just put on a patch. And I have to tell you, it calmed me. It just took away that anxiety that kind of was just right there under the surface. I mean, that's unbelievable that
When
can work. Yes. Or
when
we've got the pain patch too. I mean, that one is
yeah.
mind blowing. Yeah.
I got to tell you, that's one of the things that I'm super interested in finally receiving is the pain patch, because I have a family member who's recently fallen and is bruised in the entire upper left quarter of his face. And of
Oh,
course, when you hit your head hard enough to do that to yourself, you're going to mess up your neck, your shoulder, other residual
sure.
issues that can't be seen. So I'm anxious to get my hands on those pain patches and send some down there so he can try it and then let me know what his experience is as well.
Yes, and we never really know. So,
Yeah.
like I have a 23-year-old son who started lifting. He was in a car accident and wasn't cleared to lift weights for a while. And he came last weekend with his buddies, and they decided to go lift weights. He'd been cleared. And so I think they lifted weights the day before they got here. And so he's like, "Mom, I can't even lift my arms." I said, "Kevin, I don't know if this will work, but let's put on one of these freedom patches. Let's
Yeah.
see what happens." So I, pull out my freedom patch and I pop it on his arm, and then we just didn't talk about it. Well, about an hour later, he comes over to me. He goes, "Mom, look at this." And he's lifting his arm. And I'm like, "Does it not hurt?" He's like, "No, I can't believe it. I cannot believe that it
That's so
actually took
awesome.
away." So then the other boys are like, "Man, my shoulders are hurting. Could I have one of those patches?" And, I mean, to have one of these kind of tools in your toolbox is just comforting, I guess. It just gives me comfort because I know that if someone's, one of my people that I love is having a tough time sleeping
Right.
and staying
Right.
asleep, I can put a REM patch on them and they'll have a better night's sleep. Or if someone has a cold or maybe some kind of gunk in their throat, I can pop on a Defend patch.
Yeah. The immune
That
patch.
Defend patch, you and I haven't really talked about this, Deidre, but I wasn't sure again, and I have to test things to see how stuff works. So I decided to go to a live blood educator there in Naperville again, and she took a drop of my blood, and then we put on, as soon as she took a drop of my blood with no patches on, we put on the Defend patch and looked at my blood without the patch on. And then we looked an hour later at my blood with the Defend patch on. Oh my gosh. When I tell you that my blood cells were perfectly round and spaced out, which is what you want. You don't want your blood all like clumped together.
Right.
You want your blood kind of spaced out so that it can flow better. It gets more oxygen. it blew me away to have Linda do this this live blood analysis on me with and without the Defend patch. And again, it just showed me this is amazing, and it's right here at my fingertips. You know, I don't have to take a pill, and I don't know. It's pretty amazing.
Not only do you not have to take a pill, you don't have to deal with side effects from that pill. The clarity that I experienced the first time I tried on a patch was enough to make me a believer through my own experience. And I sharing our own experience is always so fun because we can offer hope to someone who's experiencing something that has either been acute or ongoing, where they might be able to find their own relief in multiple ways. Tim is popping into the chat to let us know that he's online shopping.
Oh,
He's
really?
had some chronic issues, which he's talked with us about on the show previously. He worked with our emotion code practitioner, Candace, live on air for a mini clearing, and experienced some relief from that. But he is already online shopping. He's got socks and patches in his cart.
Oh my goodness. Well, I would, okay, I know that we want to you're going to take a break here, but
Yeah,
I would
we're
like
going to do that here in a minute.
Before someone orders, I would like to give you a couple insights on which products might set you up for the best success.
Sure.
And so,
hey, Lori.
I'd love to share that.
Lori's just jumped in here to see us. We do have the link to www.patchme.voxlife. That's V as in Victor, OXX life, LIFE.com. And Stephanie Lynn just popped in to say good morning to us. Hey guys, y'all are just in time for the break. This is Self-Care. What's Paranormal got to do with it? I am talking with Noelle LaLiberty, and we will be back from this break in just a moment.
If you're a fan of the paranormal world, then you'll love WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Talk shows bringing you the latest on everything paranormal, cryptozoological, metaphysical, true crime, psychic readings, and more. The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.
Certified psychic medium Stephanie Lynn creates an authentic connection between the living and the spirit world. Stephanie knows she is here to help heal, educate, and provide validation that there is more after death, and allows herself to be a conduit and work as a team with spirit to pass on messages from their world to ours. Stephanie Lynn also works as a spiritual life coach to help you achieve, create, and manifest your best self and life. Looking for help communicating with an animal? Searching for a past life regression therapist? Or dealing with a paranormal experience? Stephanie Lynn is here to help. For a list of full services, visit her on Facebook under Stephanie Lynn Spirit Sensitive. That's Stephanie Lynn Spirit Sensitive.
We are back. This is an amazing, amazing topic today. Noelle Lively has covered LaLiberty. I keep wanting to call you Noelle Lively because you have so much amazing, wonderful energy that you share with us so easily and kindly. Noelle LaLiberty is here talking with us today about wearable neurotechnology. And we've been discussing how it has helped her with a back pain recovery. It's helping me with my cognitive functionality after literally having some brain changes, or brain damage, as I always call it. And we were just about to start talking about some tips for choosing products as you're visiting the website.
Yes.
Shoot, let us know.
Well, and so again, I Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Again, my intention is not to make this like an infomercial. You know what? And I am excited and I am lively about it. I am so blessed to have found this product and grateful for my back pain because it led me to this product, this company, and the people in it. And it's hard for me not to share. But okay, so let's talk about what products would be best to start first. So we have two products that are the same, same base product as the socks. So if you wanted to do socks or insoles, that is always a great choice because that way you are on the tech all the time. Although I'd recommend getting a couple pairs of socks because laundry does tend to get in the way. Now they do have an antimicrobial feature to them, so you could wear them a couple times. That's not a problem. I have teen boys and they wear them multiple times and it's not a problem. But I would recommend you get a couple pairs. These are the no-show. We have an athletic line and then also we have a wellness line. So the wellness is sort of like a higher content of cotton. It's a looser sock. So people maybe with diabetic issues might want this looser wellness sock.
Oh, so looser up in the calf area, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And a higher content of cotton. Whereas the sport line, the athletic line, and they come in all different heights, like knee high, crew, no-show.
We got options, y'all.
All the options, yes.
And fun designs and things to choose from if that's the direction you want to go. Yeah.
Patterns, colors. But again, realize this is not about the socks. That's just figuring out how do you wear it the most.
Right.
Figuring out how are you going to wear this the most and making sure that you have this pattern on the ball of your foot. So after the socks or insoles, if you want to do something that is it's disposable. You can change it every day. You can get into our patch line. For the very first product that I recommend for everyone is the Liberty patch. The Liberty patch is the same pattern as the socks and insoles. And then we also have Liberty. Yep. We also have the Victory, which I am not finding it right now, but the Victory patch is for athletes. It helps with muscle, trying to think what the actual word was that they used. I don't have it in front of me, but it helps with athletes, with performance.
Yeah.
It is almost the same pattern as the Liberty, but slightly modified for athletes. So for everyone, I recommend you start with the Liberty pattern, the athletic pattern, or the socks and insoles. That basically gets your brain in this state where it's ready to then have other things added onto it. Then I'll tell you the patches that I wear every day. I wear the Liberty patch or I wear my socks or insoles. But again, I'm in Florida, so this 24-hour removable patch is awesome. I can just pop it on anywhere on my body. And I think people figure out where on their body it works the best. For me, my upper hip is my best choice, or my upper arm, as you can see here. You can wear it wherever you want.
Sorry, Lori just popped in. I think maybe the term you were trying to search for in your memory bank was muscle recruitment. Is that what you were looking for?
That is not the word I was thinking of.
But that was the suggestion.
But that one works too. Yeah, that works too. I think it's it'll come to me. But anyway, so starting with the Liberty patch every day, and then I also do where is it here? Every night I use the REM patch. Now this patch, it doesn't help you fall asleep, but it helps you have better deep and REM sleep. So people find that they dream more. If they wake up in the middle of the night, they're able to fall right back asleep. Last night I forgot to put on my REM patch, and this morning I kept waking up and having this very light sleep. When I wear this REM patch, that does not happen. I sleep sound and, like a hard sleep, I guess you could describe it. So I wear the REM patch almost every night, as long as I don't fall asleep before I pop it on. And then I wear the Defend patch. This is that patch I was talking about with the live blood educator.
Oh, yeah.
when I saw the way that my blood reacted to having this pattern on my body, well, first of all, I couldn't even believe that it blew my mind, first of all. But to see how my kind of my blood cells kind of had points to them, they were real clumped together. That is not how you want to see. That is not healthy
Yeah.
blood cells. And when I saw how this changed the way that my blood was flowing, and realized that that improves my immunity, for me, this is it's a no-brainer. So I wear this one every day, the Defend patch. Then I wanted to tell you two other things. I keep having all these thoughts about
No, it's
what I
great.
can share about.
The
So
benefits to the Vox patches, the Vox socks. I love the way that sounds, by the way. Got my Vox
yeah,
socks.
right.
I'm getting my Vox box today. I have an order
Woo!
arriving today. And
Yay.
it took hardly any turnaround time at all. And I know
It's fast.
there are the logistics that are happening, I need my patch, the logistics issues across the country. I just ordered earlier this week. Was it
Yeah,
Monday that
it's
I ordered?
fast.
I think
I
it
think it
was.
was, yeah.
And it's already going to be here today.
Yeah, it's
So I know
fast.
Tim is anxious to get his hands on whatever what can help him with his pain management issues.
Yes.
It's
So for pain, Tim, let me just speak to that for 1 second.
yeah.
So before we had all these different patches, we would definitely recommend the Liberty patch for pain and saw great improvement with that. Now, I also want to say that we never know how the brain is going to order what it fixes first. I
Mhm.
had this young dad, 4 children. He's also a really successful realtor, juggling a million things. And
Oh
he
yeah.
said, Noelle, my knee is killing me. Do you think this will help? And I said, Jake, I don't know where it's going to work first, but I know it's going to help you somehow. So got him in the insoles. He was wearing them all the time. I saw him a week later and he said, okay, this is weird. My knee still hurts. And I said, that happens sometimes. I don't know. What else have you noticed? He goes, well, one thing that's been really interesting is I've been so much calmer and I've been able to focus on things easier throughout my week because he's juggling all these different things. And he said, do you think that is Vox? And I said, it entirely is,
Yeah.
because that is where your brain decided you needed the help first. Well, Jake went on to wear, of course, the inserts because they made him feel so good just with his brain and with his life functioning. And after about a week and a half, his knee started feeling better. So the brain orders what is going to help first. Now, let me also say this. I mentioned the inventor, Jay Dollywall. Jay was a young boy when his mother came down with MS, and he promised his mom and promised himself that he would do everything in his power to try to find a way to make her feel better and help with her balance and stability. So that's how this all started. And it was through a whole series of really synchronicity that Jay was able to figure out, wow, this pattern, when it hits the receptors on the ball of the foot, much like reflexology or acupuncture, it elicits a response. So once Jay figured that out, he was using doing the socks and the insoles like I shared, and then he figured out the patch. Then he realized that he could help with calm and clarity and focus. So he has kids in college, and a lot of their friends were needing to use Adderall or different medications. And I'm not saying those aren't good. I just think that maybe it's not always necessary. I don't know. But his kids were like, Dad, can you come up with something that would help my friends and the other students and whatever? So Jay came up with, this sleeve. Now this sleeve has a pattern in it as well. Again, it's encoded. This sleeve helps with calm, clarity, and focus. And Jay then realized, maybe everyone is not going to be wanting to wear a sleeve, although a lot of people do, and they've got great results with it. Instead, he broke this pattern down into multiple patches.
Mhm.
So now the calm is now the peace patch. And the clarity is, let's see, which one is it? And the focus is
Yeah.
for people that are suffering maybe some memory loss or just focus issues, function issues. And then there's also the flow patch, which helps students with their attention. I had to take a important test. I'm 51 years old, and I thought, how am I going to learn all this stuff? And it was a real estate test, a state real estate test. And I thought, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Well, right around that time, Jay had sent me a couple of these, and he's like, Noelle, try these and tell me what you think of them. So I put on this patch, this flow patch, and I passed the first time, which for me I felt like that was a miracle in itself. I entirely attribute it to this flow patch that helps with focus. So as we've been going down this road, as the years have gone on, Jay never slows down in trying to figure out solutions for people. This all led him to the final patch to talk about, which is this freedom patch. And I mentioned it before. This is the one, the pain patch, that helps with pain like never before. And so as if you are dealing with pain, I would suggest that you start with the Liberty patch, and then you also get some of these freedom patches.
Got it.
Again, these are 24 hours. You can wear them wherever you want. I oftentimes will put it on right after a shower when my skin is totally dry, no lotion.
Right.
Pop it on wherever you want, and then take it off right before I shower again the next day. You can wear them in the shower, but sometimes they will come off.
For me, the adhesive, well, I think it's also important to talk about one of my concerns that I no longer have, and that is, okay, so we're putting this patch on my skin. What's it going to feel like when I pull it off? It's easy. It's better than a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
It stays in place. I've worn it on my forearm. I've worn it on my shoulder where it's constantly rubbed by my clothing. I haven't had it come out of placement, and I did not have any difficulty when I removed it, as far as, it's so hard to remove it from my skin. This is tearing my skin off. Likely feel with Band-Aids. It's even more gentle than that, but it's quite effective.
And some people love wearing it on their torso or on their calf or wherever. Like I said, everyone just kind of has to figure out where is going to be their best spot for placement. But I find generally upper arm or upper hip are good.
Perfect. Hey, Todd was kind enough to share the link for information to connect. Just up on the screen right underneath my picture, it's patchme.voxlife, VOXXLIFE.com. It's an amazing journey. We have so many options available to us when we choose to look for an answer other than drugs or chemicals. And this is just one more option that Noelle and I and Lynn, and obviously a couple of people in the comments, Lori and Shanda, have already experienced the positive results of. And I really think that, as we discussed the other day, when we can speak about something that has been helpful for us and share our story with others, we shine a little light of hope. We share information, and we shine a little light of hope for others that there might be something other than chemicals and drugs and visits and visits and visits and visits and thousands of dollars that can help, that are so easy to take advantage of. This is readily at my fingertips every day now. If I hadn't tried it and didn't have my own experience, I don't know that I would really be comfortable and confident bringing this information to light on the show. You are an amazing teller of your story. And I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that your goal is just simply to help people, provide information.
Really
if the information doesn't feel comfortable for you, that's okay. If it's interesting to you and you think it's something that's going to benefit you, then I think it's safe to say that we met our goal by sharing information with you guys today. Shanda just popped by and she said the socks helped her fibromyalgia like nothing else ever had, and she got her life back.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Two more thoughts.
Go for it.
So if you are interested in learning more, you can go on the Facebook page and just type in Vox Life testimonials. You just need to ask to join. There's about 55,000 testimonials on there. And all you need to do is just go up in the upper corner. There's a search bar and you can type in anything. and it will come up. It's an amazing resource. And also I wanted to mention, I am on TikTok. I started just sharing my story on there, and it's kind of become a spot just to give people more information. And so if you are interested in learning more, you could check that out. It's it reads I Got a Patch Noelle, but with periods in between each word. So I Got a Patch Noelle. And I'm here to answer questions. If I can just give you a little bit more info, I am available. So I really appreciate you having me on, Deidre. And I just hope that you are able to continue having great results and learning more. And I appreciate you having me on today.
No, it's been so wonderful to hear your story and all of the amazing information that you have to share with us. Again, it's patchme.voxlife.com for questions and information. Tim, I hope you find the product that works best for you. I love that you're interested in exploring on your own and learning more as well. 55,000 testimonials. That's insane, especially for a product that isn't like on TV with commercials. Lynn is asking us if there are any contraindications to using the patch.
I have not found any. No, literally. And if you did experience something that felt uncomfortable, take it off. It is as easy as that. You just take it off. It's like a switch. However, I will say that we have had some people that have been using this product for years and years, and they went back and did another brain mapping without the product on, and they saw that actually the brain had regenerated at a higher, healthier level. So there are long-term benefits to wearing this product consistently, and that is where you're going to see the key. You cannot wear it just one day and see what you notice. Literally, you need to wear it consistently. That's where you're going to have your best result.
You kind of have to do anything consistently to receive the highest level of benefit from it. But that was one of my questions, literally within an hour of putting on this first patch, was I was so amazed by the changes that I could see, sense, and feel within myself that I instantly wondered, wow, are we working in the realm of neuroplasticity and creating new neural pathways through wearing this technology? And you just answered that question for me so beautifully without even my pushing the button. So,
although I do have to say, I think I misspoke by saying you're not going to notice something the first time you wear it. What I meant was you're not going to consistently have the benefits if you don't have the product on your body. So get that patch on your body. You will, like so many people have noticed instant changes, whether it's pain or balance or stability or whatever. So I'm excited to hear the stories. They are always fantastic to hear.
That's so fabulous. Thank you for sharing yours. Thank you for sharing all of this information with us, you guys. Stephanie Lynn, thanks for popping in today to check out what we have going on and to hear Noelle's story. And people that I haven't seen pop into the chat box before, Lori and Shanda. Lynn, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much for joining us today. Mia, it's great to see you here today. And Tim, thank you for coming back. If you guys will give me just a moment, we're going to say goodbye to Noelle with a big hug and a deep sense of gratitude.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break, and I will be right back up to wrap up our show.
Ellie Weisensel's psychic medium is a medical intuitive that specializes as a body code practitioner. As an energy healer, Ellie offers additional services that allow her modalities to be intertwined with energetic healing. Within your subconscious lies information that knows everything about you and why you deal with specific conditions. The subconscious can be considered the blueprint to your entire body. With Ellie working physically with your subconscious mind, we detect what negative emotions are trapped and where they are stored within the body that is causing you your emotional and physical pain. This work is designed to remove imbalances and correct them energetically, getting to the root cause of why you have your condition, to help balance your body so it may heal itself. Your body is infinitely wise and wants to be in balance. The body code is not only gentle for humans, but it is also a gentle process to help animals. For more information, contact Ellie Weisensell at the website below.
And thank you one more time, everyone, for hanging out with us this morning to learn about this amazing wearable nanotechnology, to hear our stories, and thank you for allowing us to share our experiences with you. We've got some amazing stuff lined up. I know we just heard about Ellie and her emotion code practice. She's also an incredible psychic medium. She's also been seen on the show Chat with Charlie with our very own Stephanie Lynn. That's Chat with Charlie is on Thursday mornings at 9 o'clock. I just wanted to quickly mention to you guys, Noelle had shot me a message during our break saying there is 25% off your first order and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go check out the website for the details on that. WLTK-DB has so much to offer. Doesn't matter what your interest is, you will find something here on the station that will keep your ear happy. We have later this afternoon, 3 p.m., the Psychic Hour with Kelly Brickle. At 6, station comes back to life with Seeing Beyond with Kelly Eckhart and Cheryl Murphy. And then we've also got at 8, Over the Target with Missy and Nicole. Guys, thanks again for joining us for one more episode of Self-Care, What's Paranormal Got to Do With It? The goal is to always provide information and resources to you that are useful and helpful. If there's something that we haven't covered, please, please, please let me know, because I want to make sure I'm meeting your needs and providing information that you're interested in. Until next week, gang, this is Self-Care, What's Paranormal Got to Do With It? I am Deidre Sanford, and you're on WLTK-DB.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.